A stunning new report revealing troubling information on how former President Donald Trump used his Justice Department to hunt for the records of Democrats in Congress. An internal watchdog at DOJ announced today they're investigating how Trump's administration secretly seized phone data from at least two House Democrats as part of an aggressive leak probe related to the Russia investigation. The Times first reported late last night that Trump's DOJ used grand jury subpoenas to compel Apple and other service providers to hand over data in 2017 and 2018 tied to at least a dozen people associated with the House Intelligence Committee who were investigating the former president's ties to Russia. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff, who was then the panel's top Democrat, and Congressman Eric Swalwell say Apple notified them last month that their metadata had been subpoenaed and turned over to the Justice Department in 2018. Both men were outspoken critics of Trump and took frequent aim at him on TV and on radio appearances. But records from aides, former aides, and even family members were also shared by Apple. One was even a minor. Top Senate Democrats who were up in arms over the report say they're launching their own investigation and are demanding former attorneys general Bill Barr, who became AG in 2019, and Jeff Sessions testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee. The DOJ Inspector General also says he'll look into the Trump Department of Justice secretly seizing the phone records of journalists working for the Washington Post, CNN, and the New York Times in the hopes of revealing their sources and stopping leaks to the press. Congressman Ted Lieu tweeted this earlier today. The former administration sought to destroy the separation of power by ignoring congressional subpoenas and violating congressional law. Secretly getting metadata on members of Congress is another outrageous act. Anyone involved in this is still at DOJ needs to resign. Joining me now is House Judiciary Committee member Congressman Ted Lieu. Congressman, thank you for joining me. What is your take on this bombshell report?
It is outrageous what the Department of Justice. It is outrageous what the Department of Justice did. Dictatorships go after critics and seize records of people like journalists and elected officials. We're the United States of America. We should not be doing this. The Trump Department of Justice crossed the line. They violated the separation of powers. And the prosecutors at the Department of Justice who signed off on these subpoenas knowingly violated the separation of powers. And I believe they do not understand the structure of the Constitution. And for that reason, they should resign.
What guardrails can be put in place to make sure that this doesn't happen again? I was just shocked by the fact that they could even do it.
We're exploring different ways to resolve this matter. I believe that Attorney Generals Bill Barr and Jeff Sessions should testify and that Congress should do an investigation. I'm very pleased the Department of Justice has now ordered an Inspector General investigation of this scandal. And I think we should explore legislation because why should the Department of Justice be able to get metadata on anyone without a warrant? No judge was involved here. Basically, prosecutors just went to Apple and said, give us these records. I don't know if that's the way that we should be structuring our law enforcement.
And what are the responsibilities of the tech companies like Apple? They handed it over, and they did not let the subjects know that they had handed it over until last month, according to the reporting. This happened in 2017 and 2018.
That's a very good point. Now, I believe they were also ordered not to disclose what they did, but we need to look at the laws and regulations regarding what companies have to do. And again, in this case, it doesn't appear that there was a judge involved. And so you basically have the executive branch violating separation of powers and taking these actions against a co-equal branch of government. There's also additional reporting that Microsoft also got a similar, so it may not just be Apple in this case.
But if, as you say, there was no judge involved, then who has the authority to order a gag order on anybody? I mean, can the Justice Department just unilaterally say to someone, you are illegal, this is a gag order for you, and if you violate it, you're in legal jeopardy, even though there is no judge involved in that?
That's a great question. That's why there needs to be a congressional investigation. We have to get to the bottom of this matter, because what happened here was an attempt not only to seize records, but also to intimidate critics of the administration. And it could have a chilling effect on other members of Congress or journalists who want to investigate future administrations for fear that they're going to get their own private data and records seized by the administration.
Well, let me just push on that a little bit, because how is it intimidation if no one knew?
People know now, right? And so let's say you want to investigate a future administration, and the law is, hey, they could just secretly try to get your own records, and not only your own records, records of your family members. And what metadata is it can reveal, for example, who called you, who your family member called, and that could be very revealing. Suppose one of your family members hypothetically called Alcoholics Anonymous or a porn site or a suicide prevention hotline. You could see the administration then trying to use that against you to intimidate you and say, hey, drop your investigation or we're going to release this publicly.
There are two things that the DOJ did here, both of them grave. One is to get this information and data on members of Congress. The other part of it is also incredibly grave, which is to go after these reporters and also put gag orders on the attorneys at these publications. Which do you think is the most corrosive of those two? Are they equally corrosive?
They are equally corrosive. A free and fair press is critical to our democracy. And in this case, look at what happened. The Department of Justice knew for years that this had happened. Only now did they order Inspector General investigation. Why? Because the press disclosed what happened.
Right. Congressman Lieu, I want to thank you very much for your time tonight, sir. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Charles.